Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Real Estate and Recipes. I'm Siobhan Weber. With me today are Emily Phelps
Hi.
and Nick Panarelli, and together we're the Infinity Group. Today, I'm going to walk you through a meal I like to make for company or for my enormous family of 5 sons, and it's a pesto bacon-wrapped pork tenderloin. So I look forward to sharing that with you. Thanks for joining us.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so first things first, I'll give a quick run through of the ingredients we're working with. I have to feed 8 people every day, so it's important to me to have minimal ingredients and a quick prep time. So this might sound fancy, but it's really not. We've got bacon, pork tenderloin, spinach, which I buy in the bag already washed because who has time for that nonsense? Likewise with the shredded Italian cheese. Could I shred it by hand and would it taste better? Yeah. Would it melt better? Yeah.
You
We're gonna do it.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen, folks. So Wegmans, family brand, make it happen. A little bit of pepper. And again, if you want to rock your own homemade pesto, more power to you. Mine's gonna come out of a beautiful little jar. So to get
Made in
us
somebody's home.
maybe somebody's home.
No, made in somebody's
Made
home.
in somebody's home. Yeah, somebody's home factory. So first things first, take a paper towel or two. You just want to make sure that your pork tenderloin is not soaking wet out of the package because you're not going to get nice adhesion with the bacon and you're not going to get a sear that you want because you're going to have all that juiciness. I'm protecting our butcher block here with a little bit of tin foil. Again, lazy. Don't want to have to get meat juice out of the butcher block later. So
Easy cleanup.
Easy cleanup. Think ahead a little bit, right?
So what did all these ingredients end up costing you to put this meal together?
The whole thing was less than $45. And this would be a dinner meal, or I would buy maybe 2 pork tenderloin if I was having company over, for example, because it's pretty quick prep, as you'll see, and then it finishes off in the oven. So one of the steps I'm going to skip, to be honest, is the pounding out of the pork tenderloin. So if you really want to do it kind of by the book, after you do the slicing component, you would want to really pound it out, get it nice and thin, and kind of go from there. But we're going to do it the fast way, which is to just start making an incision. I don't know if you can see this in here.
Yep.
Start making an incision along the side. Do not cut all the way through, however. So you can make small cuts if this is something you're not used to doing. It's okay if you end up with little hatchet marks. No one's going to see it. They're just going to say, this is yummy, right?
So you're basically creating like a pocket.
You're creating a pocket, and you are going to go almost all the way through in the middle.
For like 3/4.
Yeah, like 3/4, I would say, because you need the room. I'm trying to show you guys and cut, so forgive me if this looks a little odd. But we got...
You're doing great, sweetie.
Thank you. The magic of television. All right, so we've got a pocket going here. And normally, I would cut it a little more on the ends here. Like I said, get it folded open a little bit more. Because what we're going to do on the inside when we have this open is we're going to sprinkle it all with pepper. And not with salt, because you're going to wrap it with bacon, which is already very salty. Okay? So I already didn't do this perfectly, and that's okay. So what you're going to do if you mess up like I did, you cut a hole in it. Just going to open it up, spread it out. You've got slices. Who cares? Nobody cares. If you want to, again, you can pound this out a little bit more, get it nice and flat as a good surface for the inside. But we're not going to do that. I'm going to rinse off my hands real quick before I touch the pepper I use with everything else.
While you're rinsing, why don't you just quickly tell us how you got started in the real estate business?
Oh, I would love to. So I worked in corporate America in sales and marketing for a little over 20 years, I would say. Covering the inside with pepper here. And I bought my house in Shrewsbury about 7 years ago or 8 years ago. And I met this woman who everyone referred to me and said, if you want to buy a house, you have to talk to Andrea Castanetti. So I made time to talk to Andrea Castanetti.
Mm-hmm.
And a year and a half after I first met her, I bought my house using her as our agent. And
Awesome.
we stayed in touch, and through that home buying process, she shared with me that she was an entrepreneur and had other businesses. And so when I decided to leave corporate America, I sort of went through this thinking process of, do I buy a business, right? I want something I can review the financials and see, if I think I can improve them. So I went to Andrea as an entrepreneur and I said, what do you think? Here's, sort of what I have going on. And I went in thinking about buying a business, and I came out with paperwork for a real estate licensing class and an educational school already signed up. And I thought, well, I want to be a realtor now. And the rest is history. So she had just opened her brokerage 6 months before I joined her.
Wow.
So got to be one of the OGs as far as that's concerned, which has been really, tremendous to watch our growth. So I'm just giving a rough chop to the spinach because I find it stuffs a little bit better. Normally I would not use the same knife on the pork tenderloin as the spinach, but it's all going together anyway. So just grab a little bit more of that. Have it be nice and full.
So why don't you talk to us a little about family while you're at it? We know you have a big family, so tell us a little more about that.
Sure,
You
absolutely.
can see everything prepped up as she's going.
Wow, that's awesome. Can't wait to see how this comes together.
Thank you, love it. So I should just need a spoon, if we've got one. So the rough chop on this, again, is just to help it kind of sit in there and not stick out all the sides. Thank you so much. So family, I would say we have an interesting house. We've got 5 sons, ranging from 18 years old, are grown up in the house, which is a whole other kind of weirdness.
Your baby turned grown up.
Yeah, right. And then I have a 14-year-old, or we have a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old, and then we have twin 10-year-olds. So ending on twins is how you get to 5 kids really fast.
Yes.
You say, oh, okay, well, we're going to do that. That's wonderful.
And on a high note.
Yep, exactly. So everyone said, oh, you want something different this time around? Yeah, like a girl maybe, or something. So we're going to do something different. We're going to have double the fun. So, and you know what? It has been. So we don't care too much about things being exactly perfect or in their place, and it's always loud, and we make it work. So but yeah, no, it's really fun, especially as they get older.
I bet. Tell us, so you have worked in this business for a long time. What do you think is the most exciting or challenging piece of your job?
I think the most exciting part is also the most challenging part, which is that no 2 days are the same. So that's absolutely what I love about it and what keeps me coming back for more. But I would also say that, it's a cycle, and some things are wonderful and some things are more challenging, right? So some days you're really confronted with challenges that most people don't have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, and it's big money and it's a lot of high stress and a lot of emotions for people, and that can be stressful, but it's also all the more rewarding when you are able to help them and see them through that hard time in their life.
Yeah, and then that turn it into a success, right?
Mm-hmm.
After all that, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Very rewarding.
So another shortcut here, shredded cheese all on the inside of this.
Say when. Say when. When.
To make a mess, that's the other thing with 5 sons you get really used to. You're cleaning cheese off the rafters, you're cleaning flour off the chandelier. Ask me if that's a real story. It is. Yeah, so
We're still working on placement when she's done with the
We're working on placement. I'm used to cooking with people yelling at me about screen time and not so much focused on gearing toward a camera. So
Was that funny?
Yeah, but it's hilarious.
we can all have a good laugh at my expense.
I was cracking up there.
I'm a big fan of it.
That looks great, by the way.
Thank you.
Yum.
Thank you. So get really just a handful of ingredients. The meat's your most expensive part, of course, if you get a nice tenderloin and a packet of bacon. But really for just, a couple of things, you have a very, very nice entree that you could serve with a salad or, roasted vegetables, or if you're in my house, some kind of mac and cheese type products because, that's what we'll get.
Boys.
Because boys, and that's what we'll get eaten. Yeah, and the pesto smells amazing here too.
It really does. So
the last part we have to do here before we move on to sear is wrap this baby in bacon because everything's better wrapped in bacon.
Absolutely.
Let's just face it. That's the truth. So I'm going to bring my bacon back over here. And this, if Sir Nicholas says it's okay, I'll put in front of the camera so you can kind of see what I'm working with here.
Look at her. She's learning as we go.
I'm trying, right? Real time here. I normally get a thick sliced bacon, but that is not what they had at the store this time. So I'm just going to layer them a little bit closer together because what you don't want to have happen is for your bacon to fall apart on you. It's very, very sad when that happens. All right. So again, normally you would have pounded this out. It would be nice and thin. We're just going for broke. And I'll be honest, that's what I do at home too. So we're going to kind of fly by the seat of our pants. What I like to do here with the bacon is wrap it kind of both ways. So wrap it up the short side first. And then when you have a bit of that.
Side.
Why are you looking at me like that when you say that? I don't appreciate your
As
attitude.
I tower over you by like a whole inch.
A whole inch. Listen, when you're short, every inch counts. What I'm going to do that's another show. That's the After Hours show.
Yeah, that's the After Dark show. That'll be premiering
yes,
in June,
it.
I think.
Right.
Fireside sessions.
21 plus only. So I'm recording. See, now what's on the brain? I'm already in June. I've got cocktails. The whole thing's happening.
Oh my God,
So I secured this with a toothpick, an extra long one. You can wrap this in twine if you like. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. Again, I'm all about what's easy and quick here.
I've always liked the toothpicks with pork loins just because then it's easier, when you have to sit there after it's already cooked, you have to cut through the twine. It's going to make a mess.
True.
And then that thing's so hot anyway. You're going to try to touch it while you're cutting it.
Mhm.
Like this way,
Yeah,
quick
keep the bacon
toothpick
in
out of the
place.
way.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. So, I've done it. I did it with the twine the first time. My take on recipes, in theory, whether it actually happens this way or not, is usually I try to do them the way they're outlined the first time. So that I really, am I getting the expected result? Is this even, something I want to make? Although the reality is, then I get into my pantry and I'm like, oh, I used the last of this thing. Oh, well, I have some of this instead. And that's kind of the same thing. And then I'm making up a recipe. So that happens a fair amount as well. But just get a nice tight wrap on this. And sometimes you're going to rip off the bacon. That's okay. We don't cry over ripped bacon on this group. That's it. I have bacon
Like
muscles.
trying to break down the door earlier. Jesus.
Listen, if it doesn't open fast enough, it gets broken down.
So going back to what you had said earlier about looking in the pantry, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the community service that we do with Castanetti Realty and the food drive that we did at the beginning of January. We actually just were able to fill the fridge this morning for the 8th time already, with definitely at least 4 or 5 more times to go.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be aiming for another food drive probably sometime late March. So definitely, follow us for all of our community events. Come out, come say hi, come participate, come donate, and just whatever we can do for the community. It's goes around, comes around type idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's, really why I joined Castanetti. So I joke about, meeting Andrea and she was my realtor, and all that's true. But what attracted me to her in the first place was the element of community service and being able to balance, my time as a court-appointed advocate for children. I didn't have a lot of time to do that when I was in corporate with 5 kids, taking the train for 4 hours a day, And now, it perfectly dovetails with the work that we do with Castanetti. And a big reason, as you guys know, why we teamed up is because, we're really excited about doing that as a team and going farther together than going faster alone kind of thing. So that was part of what attracted me to the business. And, I know part of what was the driving force behind us creating our team. So we're thrilled to see you guys at all kinds of events coming up. We have a lot of fun. There's hot chocolate, like maybe have a photo booth. I don't know. Could be all kinds of fun shenanigans. So we like to, work hard and play hard. So it'll be a good time. All right. Awesome. So as you can see from the oil steaming up and heating up in here, we've got a very, very hot cast iron skillet. I like cast iron because it's heavy, which gives me a workout, and it goes beautifully from stovetop to oven, which we've preheated to 475. So with our gorgeous tenderloin here that we've wrapped in bacon, just when you thought pork couldn't be any better, you wrap pork in pork.
Look at how you're handling
That's how
that
you do
meat.
it.
That's what she said.
I mean, I don't want to brag, but it's kind of my thing. All right.
No comment.
So we're going to give it a beautiful sear here on the pan. Listen to that sound.
Nice.
That's the
I
sound
love
we're
it.
going for, okay? This is going to be how you avoid having fatty, mushy bacon in your mouth, which nobody wants. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
So we're going to give this a minute or so on this side. We're going to flip it over, give it a couple minutes on the other side, and then we're going to put it in the oven. And we're going to let it finish off there, get all nice and juicy. So we've got a nice sear on the bacon, as you can see through here. We're going to take this cast iron that can go right from the stove top, which we will turn off because we're done using it. And we're going to go into that 475 degree oven for about 20 minutes. Nice and hot. We're going to let that finish up baking on the inside. Melt all that lovely cheese. All right, so we have reached the end, everybody. After a nice hard sear in our cast iron pan, the tenderloin went in the oven at 475 for about 20 minutes, and then we let it rest for 5 minutes. So now we see if it's actually done. This is the fun part.
Reveal.
It's
So
kind of like Christmas, where we just see what we get inside. Okay.
Oh, wow. Oh, looks great.
Pesto, bacon wrapped pork loin. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Look forward to seeing you next time on Real Estate and Recipes with the Infinity Group.